we're back with the PPC. My name is Marlo, your boy, and with me, the other one, the best one, of course, Dolson.
No,
Come on,
not true at
come
all,
on.
not true at all. Happy to be
Like,
here with you, man. Very excited.
I'm super happy to be here too, and what a great game that was. Unexpected for sure, but we saw a little, something a little bit different, something unusual.
We sure did.
You don't see that, you don't see that every day, but it worked, of course. As minds, you got to play
Right,
the match point.
right. And I think, all jokes aside, I think when you're playing as well as Pickled Pepper are, you're opening yourself up to the ability to do stuff like that, right? I mean, I do think, there's enough name recognition in all of the teams really across the PPC and in North America that they can attempt things like that. But I think Pickled Pepper kind of playing with house money as far as their picks and ban styles go. So definitely not something you see all that often, but I suppose if there's any team that I'm expecting to see play that, probably Pickled Pepper. Very excited though for
Yeah,
these next two that we have matching up.
they're so confident and so strong. So what's meta really? If you can play anything and still be good at it, but what do you actually expect from the next matchup? What are your options? What do you think about it?
Yeah, I think North America has been, overall a pretty hard region, I think, to lock down. This team Prolific, I think especially, I haven't really fully been able to put my finger on as far as where expectations go for these guys. I mean, they're high up in this region or kind of mid-table so far in this region. So I expect them to come out and put on a good performance. Project though, it's tough, I think, with Team Project because I love all the guys on that team. They bring the name recognition, the skill set, the style, all that sort of fun stuff. So I expect actually a pretty close matchup between these two. I think Prolific comes in with the onus maybe to perform a little bit better. But I think
Mhm.
Project have the skill set to take really any team in North America to 5 games, maybe even get a win.
We got the first bans from Project, actually, Bazaar and Fish Market. And on the other side, Prolific just banned Jaguar and Wardens. So I think we're going to play on Bright Marsh, if I'm correct. And what do you think about the bans? But
Oh
most
yeah.
importantly, this matchup played fully on Bright Marsh as a first map.
Oh man, I love Bright Marsh, and it adds a lot of variety as well as far as what types of composition you want to play. I mean, space control is the name of the game of this map. As always, point is effectively in a small circle where everyone's firing in, so health pool is going to be very important here. And I was going to bring up the Torvald, so maybe not happy, but not surprised, I suppose, that Project take away the Torvald. We've seen compositions specifically on Bright Marsh centered around Torvald, usually plus Genos, usually plus Bomb King, and they just kind of run over their opponents. I still might expect a Bomb King at some point, teams starting to lean back into some of that extra AoE style of damage.
Mhm.
But I think, Inara comes to mind. Of course, Torvald did as well. Victor banned away. Wonder if that maybe bumps Vivian up in the priority pool as well. But Merlin, nothing necessarily surprising as far as bans go throughout the first four.
Actually, today, of course, Vivian gets picked in. She's like super strong right now. She's a very good spot, a very good place, even though she's not. We saw back in the day, even if she's not performing, the amount of damage she does and the amount of tankiness thanks to that shield, she's basically still present each and every stage of the fight. And of course, a double healer. This is the first time today we see this kind of composition. That's going to be a super mark and of course a buff kind of strategy. I wonder what they're going to pick, and of course Ram comes instantly because you got no counters. Charlene has been
Right.
banned, there's no cripples, so he's going to be able to roam free onto the backline.
Yeah, great point there with the Shaolin being taken away. Genos provides a small window for Prolific to grab that Void Grip, slow down some of the onslaught that Ram is going to try to be pouring out. But this double mark composition, remember back to our previous set on Stone Keep. I mean, fighting through what Genos provides you, what Corvus provides you, all that extra utility, all that extra damage, plus also the healing as well, just on top of it, it's so difficult to fight into. And really, there's no bad targets for any of it that I see for Prolific already. I mean, you throw that onto an Inara, she's going to be doing decent damage, surprisingly enough. Zin as well. You throw a mark on him as he's sent off to flank, double mark of course, on him as he's sent off to flank. So I think Prolific as well. I mean, they're in a perfect spot where sometimes you sacrifice with these double healer compositions, either extra damage dealer or extra tank. And if you're able to get that Inara, health pool right up there with the Rama, I think you're thrilled with what you've drafted so far. I do like the Grover and the BK, though, for Project. Great space healing for Grover, finding the ability to heal in that ring. The Bomb King as well, going to be throwing out damage, finding ways around some of the flanks that Prolific are going to be bringing to the table.
Yeah, the problem I see right now with this composition from Project, other than, of course, you just have Grover trying to sustain the entire team between split, of course, between Rome and Terminus, is that Bomb King has a really huge hitbox. And of course, when Poppy's gone, you don't have that mobility. So Talos is going to be pretty fast to approach you, actually shut you down with Zane. So I think we're ready for the game right now and see what they're going to build, what they're going to do, and let's go for it. But then again, I'm super scared for this Bomb King because he's not going to have a good time at all.
Yeah, I think I share a lot of the same fears that you do. I think Frog, fantastic player and very good at Bomb King. But it's going to depend on where he plays. And that's sort of an interesting combo, I think, to follow along with as this game goes on. I mean, you send a Bomb King behind this Terminus, fighting through that power siphon is going to feel a little bit better on for Frog. And a lot of this, effectively all of it for Team Prolific here is how consistently can the Xin and the Talus find routes in behind this pretty staunch front line from Team Project. And the answer early might be easy.
Probably. We see Talos already chasing in, and he's got a clear shot right now onto the Bomb King. He went straight back, but he's gonna try over and over again. For the point, we got 43% going up for Team Project. No kills yet and no first blood coming in, but you can clearly see the damage are going through like crazy onto the side lane. And right now, Inara all by herself inside the point against the Terminus. Terminus is going to be so strong right now, and that's the first kill coming in for Ratatouille right now on Prolific, and that's a double. They're going to pick this point easily.
Yeah, and this is just so difficult for Project. I mean, they are not going to be able to keep up with healing as the fights go on. You got a Corvus and a Genos, double healer, double sustain effectively. So as these fights go longer and longer and longer, at least before Cauterize comes online, I expect Prolific to be able to do exactly what they're doing now. And I love the aggression. Send the Inara out first, try to get some of those dismounts. And what a beautiful setup into the fight.
Incredible, and that's really hits the spot because right now they are uncontested onto this point. The Xin is going to be invincible. He basically has a double mark. He has a lot of sustain right now. Inara is going to be able to take it from here, and Rom alone, one-on-one. She takes a little bit of a breather, thanks to the wall, and right now, as you can see, Talos going toe-to-toe against the Vivian, not able to shut her down. They still got ultimates. Bomb King is going to go deep into this backline, but no kills were found.
Yeah, there was a pretty good through time and space used to peel out on that King Bomb, force him off to the side, keep him just shy at bay, but Frog able to stay alive, go back into the fight. Pretty even trading, though Prolific finding a few more.
Indeed, right now they're picking up the pieces. Project, they only have 2 people onto that point. They're having a little bit of problems in trying to do as much DPS as he can. He still has the ultimate, but he doesn't need that, and they're ready to capture. It was a very long and drawn-out fight, but they come on top until the end.
And again, it's same vibes, I think, from the first small engagement that we had, where Team Prolific, just at least for now, again, before some of the Cauterize comes online, you're going to have fantastic spreaders of Cauterize and a Vivian and a Rom as this game goes on. For right now, the Genos and the Corvus, as fights go on, double healer is just going to be tough to keep up with. We know that Grover can do some good healing, but he's got a lot to keep up with here, especially if Penguin's going to be starting off the fights like this.
Yeah, Xin is basically going over and over against this ROM. He's having so much problem. And right now, there's really no contesting onto this PL. They're just going and pushing and keep at it. And the problem is that Terminus just got shut down pretty easily right now. Inara is still alive. ROM, just by Finvisair, is able to get out. But yeah, they're progressing smoothly onto this lane. And they're making kills, making plays. Look at that.
Yeah, a couple of the ultimates really connecting now for Prolific, even if not necessarily in the full-on kill or damage department, buying that space for the rest of Project now, or Prolific rather. G-Bunny a bit caught out on his own here. Rom, a massive health pool, but not enough to keep him alive under the Talus.
Indeed, and now they're trying to do their best because basically they're all packed up into the spawn. They're trying their best with the Bomb King. Right now they're trying to rain down a little bit of terror, a little bit of damage onto those enemies, but it's not enough. They're not finding any kills. Zin is basically and effectively immortal, and he can one-shot that tank easily. And you see, Terminus is going down once again. Vivian able to pick a little bit of a kill onto the enemy tank. They got 45 seconds to spare, and that means regroup, relaunch, and trying to do at least a little bit of amount of push just to end the game.
Yeah, I mean, this is where Project, I mean, obviously they have to make their stand. The card is quite literally about to roll into their base, but when you have a Vivian up on that high ground, that's where a lot of the damage pours down very hard. Not consistent enough dive to get up there. Maybe a true power gets used, but Rock Monkey not feeling all that much pressure just yet.
Indeed, maybe Talus can get up top, you know, try to at least distract her a little bit, just to be able to enable a little bit of the push. But right now, 8 seconds to spare, and they need to pack up those resources for the next round. And I don't think they're gonna go in, at least if they don't take a kill too. And yeah, they're not taking any kills right now. Vivian consistently putting out DPS onto that cart. They're having so many problems right now. Terminus going onto the aggressiveness. Ultimates are being popped left and right. And yeah, Talus is gonna be the next one with, of course, Inara. That's a great defense, but of course they had to use at least a couple of ultimates.
They did, and in that entire time, I'm watching Rock Monkey on the high ground on this Vivian. Nobody's shooting at him, or if they're trying to, they're not able to find really any damage that's sticking throughout it all. Frog a nice double kill towards the end. That turns around some of the game that the BK was having. 1 kill up to that point, and then 2 there to make it a total of 3 now for Frog. So Rock Monkey there, definitely I think the biggest role to play on the defense. Team Prolific, I mean, again, maybe there's a world where you expend a Spite, you expend a True Power, something like that from one of the flanks to get up onto that high ground. The Entropic Breach kind of funneled the front line of Project off to the left, but this Project squad is just so difficult to fight into on the defense. Now, a chance to bounce back on the mid if they can catch out one of these flanks for Prolific, but that's just been too tall a task up to this point.
And the fun fact is that Prolific has the movement, they just lack verticality. They don't have an easy time when it comes to pushing, but right now they can, you know, take the point easily, take those kills inside the building. It's pretty easy for them. They just need to shut this Vivian down and do everything else. I mean, they have the tools, they have the means to it, but they just lack the, the proper combo to set it up. Zin, again, takes another kill. We see Ratatouille super strong against that Bomb King. Inara alone on point, and she will do plenty of control and zoning. Yeah, and there you go. You got another couple of kills against this immortal Zin. He cannot be shut down at all, and they just got the point, basically.
Yeah, my man is swinging through on the 16 streak right now. So much of the focus of Project funneling into this Inara. And honestly, Ratatouille's doing good damage, but he's the one that ends up drawing a lot of the flank pressure as well. Penguin, the positioning has been near perfect. 96%, this King Bomb needs to connect.
Yeah, he connects, he's gonna go for the kill, and Talus goes down, but at what cost? Because he's not in a good spot right now. They're supporting him, but yeah, it was very risky to go so hard and aggressive. They picked it up, and now it's gonna be probably from Team Project. Yeah, they're ready to go, no contesting at all. It's gonna be fine, it's gonna be fine. Whoa. It's okay, you can still defend. Unexpected a little bit, but still. King Bomb connected, they got those kills, they're ready to go.
Yeah, sometimes that's all you need. It's the one big ultimate to swing through, and it surely does for Frog this time around. So great setup onto the rest of Prolific. Finally, somebody kills Penguin, because this man is on a 16 streak. Krez, if you could, maybe KDAs for Penguin. I'm just curious what that 16 streak transformed into. So that was his first death of the game. Really ended on a 17 streak before he fell down. So there was some answer. But this is the threat of this Project team. Cauterize is starting to come online. Rock Monkey starting to feel himself a little bit. There's just so much chunk damage from Team Project that's where a Genos and a Corvus are going to have a hard time keeping up.
And that's the problem where you're fighting onto the defensive side right now. Of course, how can you counter Vivian? She's super pocketed, she's very well covered, and she's doing a lot of damage with bonking. You see the zoning is unreal. Look at that. Look at it, it's unreal. They cannot escape the base. They cannot go out from respawn. They're just gonna take it. They cannot do anything. Rom is trying to do a little bit of a DPS, but it gets stopped right now from Void and Genos, and yeah, the grip is going down. Terminus is gonna do a lot of damage onto the side, and it's gonna be complicated for them. I don't think he's gonna respawn because they still got a whole minute to reset and respawn and do everything else.
Yeah, very smart, I think, on holding off on using the reanimate there from Team Project. You know, I think you worded it kind of perfectly there. You had enough time to get back in, try again. And, you know, I was touting Inara's ability to soak up a lot of this damage, and she absolutely does that. If you want a one single tank and a double healer composition, Inara, definitely great. But now you got to worry if you're prolific. I mean, Rom and Terminus, they have health pools that cannot be scoffed at either, as well as that power siphon. If you're fighting straight into this Terminus, which prolific have to do on this defense, going to be difficult to take them down.
Incredible pulse, and they got the ultimate from Grover, so they're ready to go. It's gonna be so easy for them to push and kill this Inara out, and she's gonna go down in a couple seconds now. Oh, whoa, it took that a long time, but yeah, it was uncontested at all. It's gonna be 3-1, and pretty obvious, if I'm gonna be honest. They didn't have any tools to respond to this kind of aggression. They need to take a point.
And I love Cuskie's kind of answer back in this game. Now the Grover on an 11 streak early on in the game, and it's sort of the same point but flipped now, where Prolific are having a hard time just keeping up with the Grover as far as Cauterize is being important. Rock Monkey has 3, Frog has Cauterize 3, G-Bunny has Cauterize 3, the same amount, of course, for Team Prolific. But now you're at the point where Team Prolific, they'll start you off well, they'll get these marks on you, and they'll give you an early advantage. But that healing, you know, later on is just going to be too mitigated, I think. Very difficult to break through. Penguin cooled off just a little bit here. The answer's been good enough from Rock Monkey, good enough from Frog to lock down some of these flanks. I think Team Project are running with the momentum here. Prolific, they need some ultimates to swing, but Frog, they want to go first.
Yeah, that was not a good ultimate right there. He didn't find any confirm, he didn't find any kill. He was trying at least though, but yeah, that's going to be super wasted. You see Talos against Rom 1v1. It's gonna be difficult for him. I don't know why he's picking this fight, because it's okay. Thanks to Genos, he actually did it, but it was super on edge right there. Right now, 50%, 60% for Team Project. They're going great. They're absorbing everything, and they got a full respawn right now onto the point, and that's gonna be huge.
Yeah, nice early trades there from Prolific. Frog able to answer back, though. That's a massive trade back. Ratatouille was going to be in a position there to really make this right-hand side of the map his own. But luckily, Frog finds the damage, moves it around. Now you got to watch out if you're Penguin. Frog trying to move in.
There you go. And, of course, we saw the kill against the Xin right now. They still have the, of course, respawn from Terminus. And that's going to be, as I said before, huge. It's going to be big because, of course, you have effectively 2 tanks onto the point if one of them dies. And there you go. They got 97% to spare. He's gonna go right back. No kills, of course. You got the wall there, but you can hold, and you can hold very, very hard. Rom is gonna get damage, and you think they're gonna make it? Because I don't think they're gonna make it at 99%.
Oh, they get themselves back in, and Frog getting a kill again onto Ratatouille. Very important here. The whirlwind from Cuskie's just keeps Project alive.
Indeed, and now we can see the Rom just keeping and going at it. Inara, she's super tanky, but she cannot resist. She goes with the CC. Oh, there you go, Xin. Trying to do miracles inside this point, but he gets shoved down, and it's going to be super hard for them to pick this point. Oh my god, Prolific. They're trying so hard for Project to stomp them out. It was incredible, but the victory goes to Team Project.
Wow, what a fight back in there from Project. It's literally that first mid-fight that's in favor of Prolific, and from then on out, Project just kind of spun up those wheels a little bit. That first defense, so important, and just farming up a little extra credits, get yourself on the board. You don't need fast cap to turn these games around for you. The Cauterizes, I think, again, paying off rather in dividends. And I think Cuskie's the whirlwind there towards the end was really big in keeping Team Project in that final mid fight. I mean, and healing numbers wise, this is what I mean when I say tough to keep up with. I mean, not only does Yato Acosta do 85,000 healing, Ballin Berry does more than Cuscuti on his own. So the healing numbers more in favor of Team Prolific. But then you start to look at the damage numbers, big numbers from Penguin. So he's on top of the damage charts. Ratatouille there as well. But a lot of it getting soaked up by G Bunny, a lot of it being soaked up by Ancient. There's more health to work through there if you're Team Prolific. And by the end of it, the Ultimate's just connecting on the flanks a little bit more consistently for Team Project. And I think that gave them the edge.
And that's crazy though. You see the scores from Team Project, they're completely out of whack. Like they sustained those fights, but they were, they were dying over and over and over. They were not so consistent after, those initial team fights, but they just still had more endurance because they had more bodies at the end of the day.
Right.
Zin
Right.
really tried to go hard with that double buff, the double mark, and he really pulled through, but not enough. That was like incredible out of him. I hope they can do something similar for the next game because he really, really went for it. But he needs a little bit more support. Even though Chalus did a great job, they need more bodies.
Right. Ratatouille did a plenty of damage throughout the game, but outside of a couple double kills early on in that game, a lot of the kills weren't necessarily sticking down the stretch for Team Prolific. I think the spite was important for slowing down the double tank that Team Project brought to the table. And a lot of the times the spite were used on the Vivian, not necessarily that she's a bad target, but then you're leaving, a Zin and the Talus trying to melt through a Rom and a Terminus effectively on their own. So I think just compositionally early on, it went about how I expected for Prolific, but Project ended up kind of turning up the heat a little bit there in game number one, able to take the win. So I like the momentum they've built, not giving up despite being towards the bottom of this region.
And I think we're ready for Pixelman's number 2 for our second game. I really wonder what they're going to pull off their hats. But yeah, just one last thing about that other game. Vivian, she's just so strong inside that game. Yeah, she's super good. And she was uncontested. That's the problem.
Right, and you saw it on that first defense for Team Project, where Rock Monkey up on the high ground. There was no consistent dive up onto that high ground, and it was only once that we had to see Project on the defense. But then uncontested in the back line, there was a spite that tried to connect, but there was enough healing that kept Rock Monkey alive through the spite. So they tried, and Prolific got there. But Vivian was just too difficult to lock down here. She's also strong on Splitstone Quarry. Project seem to agree, so they'll take her away.
Yeah.
I always wonder where maybe the snipers start to fall in this conversation. Strix and Kinessa both have sort of the freedom to work their way through some of these compositions deep in on the back line. So if both are available, which they won't be.
They won't be, at least one of them,
Right, now Kinessa is at a premium if one of the two teams needs a sniper.
Indeed. But the problem is, again, a Splitstone Quarry is incredible for high grounds and long distance snipes.
Right.
But it's also so easy to just jump onto the quarry inside the house and try to get that Kinessa or get that Strix. Because if you have an Eevee, for example, or anything else that can just soar through the sky or just jump onto that composition, we saw Meave plenty of times inside this map, you're going to have a bad time. Corvus gets picked up again with Victor this time because he's not banned, and so it's going to be a viable solution on Quarry. Janus as a first pick for Prolific, and what do you think? What do you expect for the next 2 picks?
Yeah, I got to look at what's still available here. I think Ashe very strong on Splitstone Quarry. I think she might be very important to lock down, especially when you look at Corvus, the extra crowd control reduction, cooldown reduction if you're running that Dark Gifts talent. I mean, getting an Ashe dislodged with that is just too difficult. Instead, Prolific are going to look for this double flank again. So I expected one of the two to be a flank. I figured maybe Prolific would have gone for one of the frontliners here, but obviously sensing that Eevee and Droxus, the ability to dive that Victor is going to be so important throughout this game. Eevee and Andro, they do it as some of the best in the game as far as finding their way into the back line. So this Victor is going to have to think twice for sure about where he's positioning himself, because one unchecked Eevee, one unchecked Androxus, and suddenly you're without your backline if you're Team Project.
I was expecting a sand trap Shaolin just to deal with the movements
Sure.
from Eevee and Droxus. They're picking Buck. That's super okay as an option, super good. And yeah, as I said before, I was expecting Eevee, Meave, uh, stuff that just jumps onto people. And
Right.
teamwork makes the dream work. And Eevee and Droxus are going to be super strong. And with the Lian, they're going to go full on DPS with a single body onto that point. And Inara is still available. They're gonna go with Battering.
Yeah.
Oh,
All right. Well, look.
Son, you're gonna explain it to me now. You're gonna give me the
uh,
strats.
yeah. Unfortunately, I'm the one who has to because I don't know. Look, here's what I'll say. Look. Barrack has shields. He can sustain himself, not as much as he once was. He can sustain himself. He's a very popular pairing with this Genos. We've seen Barrack's top DPS in games when they've had a Genos pocket. So he still the core of his kit is effectively the same. I want to throw up my shields, throw my turrets to the side, try to keep some of myself alive. Failsafe will be there for a little extra shielding, all that sort of fun stuff. But it's just not as consistent as it once was. I agree. I think Inara might have made me a little bit more excited here.
Mhm.
Ash, I'm surprised she locks in with 10th overall. I think Barrack can work. I think with Genos, he'll enjoy his trades into Fernando. But the rest of Team Prolific is going to have to pour out some damage here because Barrack can't sustain the same way he once did.
We're just gonna see and jump into the next game, game 2 for Team Prolific and Team Project. And yeah, here we go. Let's see what Barrack is actually going to pick. I know he has the possibility to tickering. Okay, that's
Okay.
good. That's huge for damage.
Right, more
So,
damage.
yeah. And yeah, of course, Wormhole is going to go up for Penguin. And what about the others?
Yeah, nothing all that surprising, I think. It's always going to be Luminary out here for this Genos. Burst mode, like seeing it from the Victor, especially if he's going to be playing in on that back line a little bit. And then, of course, bulk up for this Buck. He's going to be dueling, Buck being he, is going to be dueling often. I wonder where they're going to put him. Looks like maybe on this left-hand side, kind of as a counter dive, and he's countering nothing from the grave as Penguin has picked up first play.
Indeed, and now the first kill is gonna go. Eevee just makes the magic. And as you can see, the entire team is basically moving towards the other team base just because they don't want to get shut down. But of course, Androxus is gonna pick you up each and every time. Fernando is almost dead. They need to watch out, and they need to watch out closely because right now that's gonna be a problem. Team Prolific, they're just gonna try to snipe them out, get as many kills as possible, and then when they're all wiped out, yeah, we're just gonna cap point. It's gonna be easy, it's gonna be huge, and I think they're gonna go with that, and it's actually effective.
Yeah, Penguin has not been in check at all throughout the first fight here in this game. A 2 streak for the Eevee. I imagine that builds up a little bit more. I love watching a good Eevee play. Oh, nice counter
Nice.
play. The shoulder
That was
pass
nice.
there. Unfortunately, Rock Monkey had the angle to shut down Penguin finally.
That's true, but she took a lot of time, and basically there's a lot of tempo onto Prolific side. They tried with the Buck, but he gets knocked up in the air thanks to Genos, and they got the objective with a tinkering Barrack. They are making it, they're doing it.
Yeah, look, man, I'm glad to be proven not necessarily wrong. I do think it has its value here, but I'm glad to be surprised, I guess I should say, here in some of these spots. I do think Penguin was a big driving force there. Barrack had enough of the focus shifted away from him, and a lot of it shifted on protecting the back line for Team Project that allowed Barrack a little bit of an easier time staying alive here. Penguin still on a tear, is going to lock down Ancient this time around. Very difficult. Now, I mean, it's really on this Victor, right? I mean, Buck maybe is going to duel with Eevee once or twice, but it's really this burst mode Victor that's going to have to gun down enough of the damage to make Penguin think twice about where he goes, and just hasn't been consistent enough yet.
Indeed, they're not denying anything, and they're having so much problem against this Androxus, and if it's not Androxus, it's going to be Eevee, and they're super slippery. They got verticality, they got a lot of movement. There's a double blink coming up for Eevee as well. You saw that it's impossible to get them because in the aftermath, and meanwhile everything is going on, you also have Ratatouille just sniping from the back and dealing consistent damage, so tanks are getting hit. Of course, if you are Buck, you are getting shut down. There's such an amount of disrespect coming from Prolific because the damage is so insane right now.
Yeah, it absolutely is. And Team Project luckily have some of the sponge advantage, I guess, on their defense. They're going to be the ones absorbing a lot of this pressure, and they have a decent composition in doing so with a Fernando, and Ash, and a Corvus, especially if Victor is left sort of where he is right now. But unfortunately, just an overextension from one is enough to force Team Project all the way back into the back of their base. Where Frog positions here, I think is going to be very important. He's got a big role to play for maybe making this barrack uncomfortable.
Indeed, and now we need Fernando to rain down upon this barrack because the elbow is already surpassed, and oh, that's a double kill, and the healer goes down. Of course, he gets shut down easily by Buck, but they need to go down and they need to strike hard because it's 15 seconds left, and Fernando is gone, so there's no tanky capabilities because also Ash is getting shut down, and they're just pushing harder and harder and harder. Look at the barrack damage. Oh my god, that was incredible.
I guess Tinker and Barrack is going to work here. He's on a 13 streak. He hasn't died yet. He's gotten 12 assists. He's mid-pack as far as damage goes. He's ahead of Frog, who hasn't found all that much at all on this Buck so far. His Corvus has about 600 more damage than he does. I mean, let's be honest. Nothing's going the way of Project right now. There are 2 kills. Both are on Yato Acosta, and maybe what you expect, and Androxus is moving himself around quickly, and if there's some lockdown from Project, that's obviously going to be their first target. But when you get a Genos, you get Leon. I'm so happy to see Leon doing this this well, at least up to this point for Prolific, because I think she's sort of faded away out of the meta with some other options available. But this is always the threat that she brings as well, with Penguin turning a lot of the eyes and Yato Acosta doing the same as well. Ratatouille's playing the same role as the enemy Victor. He's going to sit up on the high ground here, pour out the damage, and try to dislodge some of that front line.
Even though she's an Eevee, is it okay to say she's bringing up the heat? Because, I don't know, man, right now...
I think so.
I think so, too. Right now they got ultimate, they got plenty of resources, and we see Barrack actually going in. A little bit risky right there, but of course, Yakasta just taking kills over and over and over. They're like controlling the entirety of the fight.
Ooh, nice void
Not
grip.
enough.
Ooh.
Ooh, there you go, and they got the point easily this time around. Of course, we gotta see if they are actually gonna be able to push. The problem again, when you're facing down, in Sprint and Quarry, is that the enemy always has the advantage, always has the high ground, and now you're against 4 DPS people and a tank who's doing DPS. So I'm really curious to see what's gonna happen.
And that mid-fight really goes the way of Project once Penguin dies almost immediately off the bat. What we hadn't seen was Buck, or Frog, of course, playing the Buck, doing a good enough job of countering out the flanks over on the lava side of this map. And really for the first time, there was a fantastic combo of damage that all connected on the Penguin. And once that Eevee was gone, there was finally a sigh of relief from the rest of Project to move themselves forward. And this is where Frog can really start to find his impact. He is free and clear now, kind of left unchecked to dive into the backline of Prolific.
Yeah, Ash tried a little bit too hard right there. She literally just over pushed a little bit, but it's okay because they're taking so much value right now, and they are on the last stretch on this map. They're gonna go 2-on-2 easily if they are able to shut down a little bit of those tanks, a little bit of those flankers. Right now, of course, you see Ratatouille, Androxus, and Eevee doing tons and tons of damage. The healer is down. They're gonna take the other one. Ash is a little bit down, and there you go, Penguin securing the kill.
That's right, fantastic now for Prolific to kind of keep things exactly where they are on defense. And I like some of the cautiousness from Prolific here. We've seen teams on sort of a downfall where they'll overextend just a little bit too far here on Splitstone Quarry. They'll lose a fight right on the mid. The enemy team's able to get back to the payload, march itself forward. So I think Prolific have set themselves up well. Now they need to decide if they have to spend any ultimates on the defense. Finding picks onto Frog, definitely a way to keep those ultimates in the back pocket.
Let's go and let's see for Bunny if she's going to be able to go in. 30 seconds to spare. It's going to be so little time. And once again, Penguin trying to outplay the Ash. We see he's going hard on it, like it's super, super contested right now. He needs to take that kill just to defend. 70 seconds to spare, 70 seconds to go, and the heat is increasing. The gig is up because Fernando is getting shot at by every single angle available on this map. They're going to go all down. It's going to be a successful defense, and it's 3-1 for Team Prolific.
A fantastic defensive stand for Prolific. I mean, the iron wall of defense. You know, best defense is a good offense, whatever the saying is, definitely comes out to play here for Prolific. I think Yato Acosta really turned around his killing factor here on the defensive side. Ball and Berry as well, Undying. Genos obviously safe as far as healers go, so it's going to work out well. You know, for any team when your healer's able to stay alive. But Ratatouille as well. Ratatouille has not died on this Leon. And the name of the game on Splitstone Quarry is diving the direct damage backliner up on that high ground. And Frog has been on dealing with Penguin duty effectively the entire game. And Ratatouille's had no one in his face, I'd argue, pretty much this entire game. And if that continues here, Prolific probably just run away with the map.
Indeed, Prolific still they have tons of ultimate, and Drox is actually able to probably snipe down the entire enemy team with a little bit of lost damage. We'll see if he actually is going to use his ultimate. Right now and available, Penguin putting up pressure on Fernando, which is crazy. That's a crazy sentence right now, because he's effectively pushing without breaking a sweat. And 20% to go. Barrick alone on the point, uncontested. Nobody's going on him.
Right.
Fernando actually taking the high ground. You think they're going to go just onto the point and pop each and every single ult they have?
At this point, you might need to. The barrage for Rock Monkey finds some damage onto Penguin. And remember, that was the go button last time for Project. Might be the same here.
Indeed, I see a couple of kills are coming up. Free people are actually respawning, so they need to regroup. They still got plenty of time, though. They just need the right angle. Fernando right now trying to block this house. Nobody's going to jump onto this point without him knowing it. So there you go. He's going to go for the first one. Nobody's able to actually touch the point. Eevee with a little bit of blink, but it was too early. And now 97%, nobody's able to run against this overtime, and they just need to give it up. I think that's a fact.
Separated, so Team Prolific actually getting a couple of kills. Prolific fight their way back in, and maybe a double kill from Penguin gives the blue side a chance.
Indeed, now it's the opposite thing, because they have ultimates. They still have Eevee. She can block everybody with that ultimate. She's ready to go. 72%. They got no way to jump onto that point except for Ash, but she's way behind right now. Once again, they're healing up. They're all full. They need to watch out for Penguin, of course. Fernando, no ultimate available. Ratatouille takes a kill. Fernando's going to go down after that. Watch out for him. Onto the left side. Oh, and they just got it. Fernando was not able to touch the point. I didn't even see that.
And that final little bit of silhouette marking there really describes life for Fernando and Ash down the stretch from this game. I mean, they were corralled over onto Fidget Spinner side, and everyone back on the high ground just poured enough damage onto that front line to force them off of the point. The overtime kind of flip-flop there. Penguin, I think my MVP, though, for this game, the Eevee was fantastic at countering out a lot of what Rock Monkey was trying to do. 80,000 damage from Rock Monkey, but then you kind of have to compare, I think, apples to apples in this case, where Ratatouille effectively unchecked the entire game, did 30,000 more damage than what Rock Monkey was able to do. Both doing the same job, Ratatouille just able to do it a little bit better. Penguin, 69, almost 70,000 damage. Look at what Frog did, 40,000. So effectively doubling up the damage to be expected with the Genos. But Penguin 11-5, Undying as Ball and Berry. Ratatouille died once. There was just more effective and more, I like to call it sticky damage. The damage that Team Prolific were doing was sticking into the right target, sticking into Rock Monkey, forcing Ancient off the point. G-Bunny died 11 times. A tough game to be on Ash. That's just a complete team win, I think, from Prolific, but a lot of it built out of Penguin on this Eevee buying a lot of space.
I'm just going to say something real quick for Rock Monkey. Like, yes, he was consistent with his damage, but we have to take a look at this scenario. It was constantly being pushed by Penguin and Leon and the others. Like, the fact that he was able to actually take those kills and push hard with the ultimate was pretty impressive. I think we're also ready for the third game, like in a quick succession on Picks and Bans. So let's just jump into it.
Stonekeep.
And it's going to be Stonekeep. Interesting. Once again, a very sniper-heavy map if you're willing to go for it. But what do you think, Dilson?
Yeah, we've seen some teams run Strix. Strix a little bit more popular here on Stonekeep if we do see it. Just to cycle back, totally agree with your point on Rock. I definitely am not trying to talk down Rock Monkey from
No, no,
game
no.
number 2. I more mean the disparity in damage was brought out a lot in part due to Penguin things
For
like
sure.
it's a more concrete way, a numbers way of looking at maybe the difference between what one versus the other was able to do. That's sort of besides the point, though. In game number 2, Genos, I think, a strong ban for Stonekeep. Victor as well definitely has his place here. I don't know if Victor doesn't have a place on effectively every map. I do sort of echo your point around some of the snipers, though it has been sort of fading out the consistent sniper play on Stonekeep. So I don't know if either team is really going to overextend for one sniper or the other. Corvus does come at a bit of a premium, though, here in this game with Genos being banned out. And this is really going to show where these teams are prioritizing the healer. Androxus instead is going to be locked in first overall for Team Project. The ability to flank and make an impact everywhere. We saw it with Eevee in game 2. Androxus can do much of the same thing. So I think a good start for Project.
Absolutely. Corvus is a given, as you said, and they are going to pick him. And again, Torvald, pretty good right now. They're going to go with, so many buffs on a single target. I wonder who's going to, funnel into this and take all these buffs and just go and run into the straight enemy line. Androxus, I'm going to go with the ROM, etc. Yeah, that's pretty good. At this point, Grover, of course, you don't want to have deep roots against your roam, so that's pretty basic. And again, as you said, Androxus is going to be so huge because it will be able to jump outside church or onto the left side and just basically being to the face of the enemy in less than 2 seconds with all that verticality.
And this is going to be an interesting look at the Mark Healer / Torvald / carry composition. All right, so it is going to end up being a Strix.
And I'm all for it.
I'm all for it. I agree. I think Strix absolutely still carries the same weight. It's not only long range confirmable damage, but also mid to close range. If these players are hitting those quick scopes, those snapshots from feet away, they're still pouring out massive damage numbers. So it's the extra bonus of being able to do it from further away, but also they still have the chance to skirmish and out DPS as they're being dove onto. Fernando, Cassie, so a very classic draft, I think, here for Project. A stalwart point tank in Fernando, Rom to buy some space, Androxus to turn heads, Cassie on the back line trying to find some damage. Slightly concerned that Strix has an okay matchup into this Androxus, quick shot or two, and suddenly he's not feeling so nervous anymore. I think that largely comes down to individual players, Andro versus the Strix, but the Dredge, normally we see Corvus Torvald with like a Bomb King. Dredge maybe fits a very similar mold there. You obviously want Torvald kind of up in that fight. I doubt you just have him hanging back with this Strix, but it's going to be a different look. Normally it's Genos, the Luminary, providing a damage boost. Now it's more utility-based with the Corvus marks as well as that Torvald bubble. Dredge can do some serious damage on his own. True. So Project, they got to find a way to burst some of these bubbles. I think Cassie can do it, but I like the creativity from Prolific.
And we're ready to jump onto game 3 between Team Project and Prolific on Stonekeep. Of course, Stonekeep verticality is key. We talked about Sniper. We saw Sniper. We got Strix in the house, and it's going to be pretty interesting. But I got one note I need to read from my, my studies over Paladins and meta, etc. And it's like, do not pick Dredge if Bomb King is available, or pick him on, or pick him on Ice Mines. So what's happening?
Kresnik not happy to hear it.
Not happy at all.
But I don't, and Krez is maybe gonna ream me for it. I don't necessarily think you're wrong there. I mean, I think BK, I would have enjoyed a little bit better. That said, I do think Dredge has the ability to have a good game here and do massive amounts of damage. I think Bomb King a little bit more consistent, but I think Dredge up here on the high ground is gonna have a fun time.
And he just took the high ground and he's just dominating from up top. That's his spot and nobody is gonna contest him on that spot except for Rom that is right now just running 4 to the backline, taking a double kill with the help of Cassie, and they just got the point. Team Project completely stomp out the enemy team. Prolific having a little bit of a problem on their hands because they lost the point so fast out of nowhere.
They sure did. Team Project happy with the way this one has started. I said Dredge, I think he'll have a good time up there. I still think he has the chance, but a lot of the damage just absorbed by Project, and they lost a kill early on. First blood was for Project. And then once those gates kind of get stormed, you got a ROM in your face. A Dredge can, again, do some good damage to that ROM, but it's not going to be enough to really melt down that massive health bar. A flashbang back from the high ground there. Tried to open things up for Prolific. I think this Strix on this defense maybe has the biggest role to play, keeping Project at bay. He's not going to have anyone diving on him all the time, so he needs to do some serious damage.
And we see the pressure that Dredge is able to make right now, pushing people off the map and pushing people off the high ground. He's trying to snipe and use a barrage of damage over and over and over. Nice ultimate right there from Gensi. He needed that. He needed some time because right now they're pushing hard and it's 1 minute and 20 and they already are basically onto the final point. So they need to make some plays. They need to take some kills and use resources because right now, they're taking a lot of pushing.
Yeah, I don't cost that 40 health left by the end of things there. Stays alive, so when I say nobody's diving on him, that doesn't mean that Cassie can't find great damage from the backline. A good magnifying glass in what Rock Monkey's able to do.
That's a double kill coming up from Frog. Rock Monkey is able to actually support him, but yeah, Team Project, they're just pushing and pushing and pushing, enabling kills and enabling space. It's going to be Fernando against, of course, the enemy team. It's going to be a little bit hard now to push because, of course, we are on to the final stretch, and Dredge is basically creating a barrage, a full-on explosive line against the enemy team. So each and every time you walk a little bit, you're going to take damage. You're going to take a little bit of explosion. It's going to be all full blast, full AoE, and that's why they're not able to push consistently right now. Androx is waiting for the right time to strike onto this bottom field.
Yeah, I wonder what the opening is going to be here. Up and over the Accursed Arm.
And there you go. He takes Dredge out, so there's not that many damage right now anymore. So yeah, we see a couple of snipes coming up from Strix. He still has a flashbang available just to confuse a little bit the water. And Cass is going to be the next. He's not able to get her, but yeah, the overtime is going to get popped. That's another kill on Frog, and too bad for Team Project. But yeah, that was a mighty push and a very well and good execution, but that was too bad.
Yeah, unfortunate there. I think Frog had the element of surprise with that Accursed Arm, but the rest of Prolific just a little bit too ready for it there. Jay Genzi, big game on the Inara so far, 6-1-1. Keeping that front line up and healthy, very important, especially, and I don't want to disparage my boy Torvald, but he provides bubbles, maybe a little bit of damage, some utility. But, his job is not necessarily to front line at the end of the day. It's to get Penguin into a position to do big damage. So it's kind of doubled down onto Jay Genthi to have a good performance on the Anar, and at least had there on the defensive side. Project found first blood on the previous mid-fight. I think it's as simple as that. I think Team Prolific need to avoid that early death and keep Ratatouille safe up here on the high ground, and they'll have a much better time on this mid.
And look at Prolific, they already took Church, and that's incredible because Dredge needs that to just, rain down fire upon the enemy. But yeah, as you can see, the enemy knows that, and they're trying to basically contest, but not successfully because right now Rom just went down easily. They're trying to take the point onto the same time, but yeah, it's gonna be hard. Frog actually takes the first kill. He's gonna go for the second one. Watch out for Strax. He's trying to bounce as much damage as possible. Thanks to Rock Monkey, they just took the Torvald, and yeah, he's just standing there. Frog goes for another kill. My god, he's just out. The play enabler. That's the double kill. He's just unlocking the whole situation up.
Yeah, it's a big one from Frog there, and he's gonna look for a little bit extra on the back end. The Accursed Arm, the one tap, down goes Penguin. Project, they're zoning out for the next mid.
Mamma mia, that was incredible right there. That was incredible. He just took so much pressure off of his team and just enabled this point capture, and right now they're ready to go 2-1. And yeah, they just need another play like that to be able to actually go for a safe 3-1 and keep resources into their hands just to, contest the last point and do a match. But yeah, we're gonna see what's gonna happen because Rom, once again, in a little bit of a pinch, getting shut down. It's not gonna be easy.
Yeah, and I looked back towards G-Bunny on this ROM, especially on the mid-fight. I liked his mindset there, but there wasn't the same collapse from the rest of Project. G-Bunny found his way to the high ground, got some good damage, some good knockbacks up there, kind of dislodged Prolific, but nobody else was really there for the immediate answer, and then luckily able to regroup, and Prolific just didn't have the massive damage number. So I like what G-Bunny's doing. I like the kind of answer back after a slower start, and now Project a chance for their third point.
Hold the phone, Dolson. Look at that. They're just bullying them. Right now, it's just bullying them. They just stand there onto the respawn. Nobody's able to go out, and basically the payload is coming up for free onto their last stretch, and it's still 1 minute and 20 seconds. That's plenty of time to do anything at all. And probably Nara is going to be the next one to go down if they focus her with a little bit of more, spice. But they are regrouping, and I think the fight is over right now.
Yeah, luckily, this thing gets close, and it still is very close. Another attempt. This is where Frog was last time. Didn't quite work out. Yato Acosta doesn't get the kill here. Maybe a flashbang softens up the front line.
Yeah, they need to try and take that Strix, especially on Droxus. He has the ultimate. He can make the same identical play right now, but yeah, he needs to wait a little bit longer. And when they wait for this Androxus to actually do some kills, Strix is taking up the advantage. He's basically taking everybody. So they need to go back right now. They lost a lot of time after those 2 kills. They need to keep the Cassie alive. They need that DPS. And I think we're going to go to a double point, so 2-2 for the next round, because I don't think Androxus is going to waste an ultimate on that like that.
No, not unless I think he finds an immediate kill onto Yato Acosta. If you can kill this Strix, then maybe it's worthwhile. He thinks he can.
Watch out, 6 seconds to go, but no kills at all. We see Rom is like focusing full on heavy against Inara. The wall is down, so that's the right moment to strike. They need to take a couple of kills, and Brock does it. Brock finally does it. Inara alone on the payload. Oh, he gets taken back. Watch out. We need to focus on this Dredge. Dredge is trying to do everything by himself. He uses the ultimate. He goes down with the harpoon. I mean, he tried, but he wasn't successful. That's the stun. That's another kill for G-Bunny. They're going to go deep, and they're going to go hard, and it's going to be very easy for them to take this point right now and then. And with the help of Fernando, they're going to go 3, 2, 1.
Thing, Jake Genzi throws up the walls, so Team Prolific actually keeping themselves alive.
True. It's not going to be enough, though.
No, not enough there towards the end. Jake Genzi, I thought for a second, might have just bought enough time for the respawns. It is some intrigue. It does make you raise your eyebrows a little bit, but ultimately, Jay Genzi, so much of his health is missing, and then the rest of the team respawns, and you're lopsided on the numbers. G-Bunny, massive on the push there. Big time ultimate to lock down a couple members of Prolific, and the rest of Project respawns and rejoins the fight in there behind him. So now I look back towards this mid-fight, and G-Bunny is flanked effectively every single time. So I think if Team Project have that immediate collapse with G-Bunny here, though they won the last mid-fight, it becomes a little bit easier, especially now that Jay Genzi, he started off at, was it 6-1-1, is now 6-4-1, I believe, on this Inara. So the Inara has completely hit the brakes. Yato Acosta on the sniper, though done some good damage, hasn't made it stick quite as well. Project in a great spot.
Dolson, picture this. You just got picked up for Prolific, you're ready to go. You're ready to strike. This is your game. You need to do something different. What do you do?
I don't know, man. It's not this. It's not dropping down the Corvus ult alone onto G-Bunny. You have to funnel a lot of your pressure onto him and try to melt down enough damage. Unfortunately, that splits up this engagement just a little bit, actually, for Project. So maybe you do what Prolific just did, but that leaves Frog unchecked. Very split, very messy engagement, really, from both sides.
Frog unchecked right now. Cassie just going down from that Strix doing the magic. He's trying so hard, and you can see he's actually taking snipes over and over and over. Brom actually trying to stick for him and trying to get that kill onto the Fernando. No can do. Yeah, I think they just got the point. Thanks to Strix, he just basically did a triple finisher. And yeah, they just got it. 3-2, and they're ready to roll.
Team Prolific pull one back. Look, I I wasn't sure if the Entropic Breach alone onto G-Bunny was going to be enough, and it wasn't, the flashiest, hard-hittingest ultimate you've ever seen, but what it did do was slow down exactly what Project were hoping G-Bunny was going to do, and that is just run free and clear into the backline, get a kill maybe onto Yato Acosta, and that didn't happen. So though it didn't result in a massive kill, it did slow down a lot of the pressure.
You saw how unfortunate that was. You saw the combo from Strix. He went for a full body shot and ultimate and just 10 HP on that Grover, and that basically enabled, at this point, the defense onto the enemy team. That was so unfortunate because they had the game right there, right then. But yeah, they need now to get a little bit of an opening going on, and it's going to be hard. They still have lots of ultimates, but at this point, I wouldn't waste them for the possibility of getting a third point out of this.
There's just something so funny about Penguin constantly getting bubbled and pouring out damage into the front line of Team Project. I love the composition. It's one of my favorite compositions to watch, and it's working. Team Prolific, they're finding an opening.
Indeed. Let's see what's gonna happen right now. We're waiting on to the Streaks to actually get a couple of kills. Ooh, and there you go, another kill. Very, very close, but it was not enough. The DPS is not coming through. As you can see, Fernando Rom trying to defend as much as possible. Inara, no problems at all. And there you go. We got the Torwald pick. We're gonna use a Torwald.
That's right. The Hyper Beam tried to push back a couple members of Team Project. It worked. But now the respawns are here. Team Project able to kind of cauterize those wounds. But Prolific, they're not out of this one yet. They still got some damage to maybe get this one through.
Froggy's going crazy with this verticality. He's just, does a couple of shots, try to get a kill, and then he just goes back into the base, trying to regain a little bit of health. Inara still there, she's still going strong. Oh god, that wall is so annoying and hard to deal with because they don't have anything to basically shut it down easily and fast. They just need to wait it out, and as soon as you wait it out, you lose a lot of time. But see, we see right now the kill coming off from Rock Monkey and Ancient. It's gonna be a good defense, but also Prolific. Remember, they didn't use anything onto this fight except for the Torwald's ultimate.
Yeah, the Hyper Beam, very situationally specific, not massive utility on a mid-fight outside of slowing down, an overtime touch or something of the like from Project. So don't mind Team Prolific trying to throw that one out there, see if they can get something going. Nearly worked, but unfortunately just a little bit short there. Massive damage numbers, as you'd expect from Team Prolific. Penguin, Yato Acosta kind of sharing that top spot up there. Then I look over to Project, the Wrecker 2 for Rock Monkey. So the main dealer of this Torwald pocket has got to be Rock Monkey, but he also wants to put damage onto Yato Acosta. It's interesting, and I think it's tough that Project are funneling a lot of their immediate answer to this Torwald just through one guy. Though Rock Monkey definitely good enough. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying it's the wrong decision. It just makes it a little bit more difficult for Rock Monkey to be the only one dealing damage, but he might have reached the point where he can just kind of one-tap some of these shields.
Indeed, let's see Frog what he's going to do. He's trying to find a kill, but yeah, that was super unfortunate. Not super well executed, I might say. He waited a little bit too long onto that verticality, but let's see what's going to happen home to these high ground. There's a lot of damage coming up from Corvus. We still have the Dredge's ultimate. He can, as you can see, is shooting down the enemies over and over and over. He's taking control to the point, making plays. Dredge, my god, is getting shut down right now, but he did a lot to create some space. Fernando with the ultimate coming up. Inara with the wall trying to get a little bit of time for herself, but I think Project has the better chance right here. Cassie, of course, taking another kill with Grover falling up, and there's no way they can get this point back. There's no way they can jump on it because Cassie is already upping their faces, trying to do as much snipes and DPS as possible and knocking them back constantly.
At this point, Rock Monkey is just playing dismount. Team Project run away with this one. Close fight back from Prolific. Really there towards the end, I think Fernando starting to show his value. The Immortal huge in the ultimate department. I like the pivot from G-Bunny instead of kind of the solo flank mission around the backside. Sticks with the squad a little bit better in some of those close range areas. And as far as difficult to deal with front lines, a Fernando Rom is somewhere close to the top of my list. And That game, it's kind of on Strix to deal a lot of that direct damage. Of course, the Dredge with the Torvald bubble was doing a fantastic amount of damage there as well. 135, 138,000 across the two of them. The healing numbers, though, somewhat even for Cuss Cutie and Ball and Berry, about a 4,000 difference there. But Ancient and G Bunny, some extra self-sustain in those kits to keep
Yeah.
themselves in the fight just a little bit longer.
And that's the fact that, as you can see across the board, the damage is not so different between those two, but it's in the stats, in the final, of course, kills and assists, etc. You can see that Frog really pulled a number, really pulled through the entire fight. He was sniping the right targets. He was being super annoying and turning heads on a twist, on a whim. And on the other side, he had like a super consistent Strix, doing shots, doing kills, but not enough to unlock the whole situation. And so, yeah, I don't know, but yeah, Dredge tried and did a lot of damage,
Yeah.
but was not enough to support and sustain the entire team. He was there, don't get me wrong, but still, yeah. They need to. Again, it's like, oh man, if only a Bomb King, you know, a little bit of stun, something like that.
I know. I look. The Dredge did big damage numbers, but it was like 6 and 11. I think here in this game, I think it showed some value. I agree. I think a Bomb King I would have enjoyed a little bit better personally. I don't think, however, that ultimately would have made the biggest difference in the game to turn things around. I do think a King Bomb would have helped in some of the fights, so definitely would have helped. I don't think you hang this one all on the Dredge. I think there's just more consistent direct damage for Team Project to take the win.
And we're ready for a little bit of a break. Don't go anywhere because we are right back for you. Welcome back to the PPC community stream and broadcast. My name is Merlo, Italian Merlo. I come from the far land of Italy, and with me, Dolson.
I come from the far land of Atlanta, Georgia. I guess you're
Whoa!
far from one another. But hey, whoever's in chat, probably closer. Some people probably in chat closer to you than they are me. But we've got a fantastic set brewing up to this point. This is what I always figured. This is what I always knew this Team Project squad had in them. They haven't transitioned all of this potential into wins just yet here in phase 2, but they are good enough to take kind of any teams into these later, longer sets and a chance to win. So, I'm happy to see it, and I'm excited to see what the next few games have in store.
I'm gonna be honest. Right now, Team Project seems to be the better team, but in general,
They look that way.
they're they're going super hard. They're super well balanced. I think we are ready for the next map and the next picks and bans. Let's see what's gonna happen and what map is gonna be. Shattered Desert.
Yes.
Now, I don't have a whole lot of information about this map, so enlighten me, Dolson. Give me some tips. Give me anything.
So tips for Shadow Desert. I'm not gonna have concrete tips, but I will explain. I mean, the vibe of Shadow Desert is it's kind of like a carousel, and it's also open. It's weird, but it's not all at the same time. It's a fun map, but it's also annoying. It's a little bit of everything. Effectively, you sprinkle it into a pot, stir it up, and Shattered Desert comes out. In reality, it's a map where communication very, very important amongst these teams. Mobility, maybe at an all-time high, not necessarily verticality, but getting from one place to another, that style of verticality, very, very important. Not surprised to see Talus banned out here. But you get these kind of outer ring fights, all the while someone in the middle has to be controlling these points. The sight line's very, very long. The ability to connect from damage from range, definitely there. Love the ROM pickup here. Not only has the ability to do damage, but what I said in the need to move a lot, ROM can definitely do it here. So I think a good pick, not only just in general, but for Shattered Desert for sure here for Prolific.
You're kind of forcing, though, a Grover counter pick to be sure, because right now, Rom is like just asserting dominance as the first pick. So what do? You need a cripple, or you need something to actually pull him out. Right. But Shaolin is banned, and Genos too, so it's going to be a little bit difficult for Project to actually counteract this immediate action, and they're going to go with Androxus and Corvus just because Corvus and Androxus are so strong in the meta right now. Androxus, especially, I think personally, is one of the best flankers because he's just got mobility, AoE when he has the ultimate, he's got verticality, he has everything basically.
He does. He sure does. And, there's one way, even outside of throwing a cripple onto Rom or locking him down. I mean, the CC reduction from Corvus definitely helps with the juggernaut rumbling through your team, at least in some capacity. So that's definitely something to consider. While it's not necessarily a full-on hard counter, it's at least something that lessens the impact a little bit. Khan definitely can stand in the way of ROM, find a little counterplay there. So I like what Project have answered back with here. But I got to admit, Merlo, I think through and through, I'm a little bit more excited with the first 3 and that now even 4 from this Team Prolific draft, especially for Shattered Desert. I talked about long sight lines being important. Strix can gun those down about as well as anyone. And the team fight now for Prolific, I don't know if there's anything that Project can draft that'll make me more excited about the Project team fight than I am about the Prolific team fight. It's kind of a tale as old as time, where you pop a Midnight and then pop an Inflame. And I think makes some sense now that Cassie has to come out. Pop that Scout for your team, for Team Project, to lessen the impact of that Midnight. But an Inflame, a Midnight, and an Assert Dominance all on top of you if you're Team Project, I don't know if a Scout is going to help you all that much. I think Team Prolific, they got a draft here, especially in team fights, that I'm very excited about, especially for Shattered Desert.
Like, Prolific is the definition of unconventional. Of course, you got Meve, you got Furia, but I'm just a little bit scared, if I'm going to be honest, as Furia being a solo healer with Cherish. So I don't know. Walk me through it. What do you think is going to happen in between fights?
Yeah, Furia has the ability for big sustained numbers to keep the team in it. Especially as we move into game number 4 here, as Prolific is going to try to answer back. Furia has the ability, especially with Cherish, to top off on some of that healing. You know, it's solo healing. It's been something that we've seen. It's worked in the past, absolutely, for sure. But this is a pick that what it might lack in individual sustain up with like a Corvus, and I don't really think it's lacking in all that heavy of a manner. It's still that team fight, in my opinion. Inflame is just so good that even between fights, I think Prolific are betting that they're going to win maybe so handily that then they can just passively sustain once all of Project are dead.
And do as much DPS as possible. And we're going to see Ratatouille right now trying to go and crush the backline. They're trying to snap each other pretty hard right now, but it's going to be sustained damage because we don't see any first blood popping up anytime soon, except for Strix. He's trying to find that right combination, and Cassie with Rock Monkey is going to go for the first one. Ratatouille following up pretty fast. Going to be 1-2-1, 60% going on to the point, and Yato finally taking another kill onto for his team. Prolific right now trying to have the majority of kills, but they're not contesting super hard to point. They still have 39%. Wow. And yeah, just Strix doing damage, being Strix, you know, taking from long range, and there's so much time to actually recover, but not enough to jump and do a decent team fight. I think Prolific is going to take the point right now.
Yeah, it's looking good for them for sure. 90%. Commander's grab has to get used. Yeah. No real chance for Project to move back in. Now, this is the important engagement for Prolific. If they're actually able to not only win the mid, but then find kills on the back end, Shattered Desert is tough. If you are pushed back into your base right off the bat, I mean, it's very linear as far as the defense goes. You're walking out of your base in one straight line, effectively fighting in to the enemy team. So not dire straits just yet, but I love for Prolific rather that they've already made up a decent amount of ground. Have to burn the ultimate though to delete Penguin, so not ideal, but you'll take it if it means you have a better chance on defense.
Indeed, too bad for him though, but he still has the ultimate, and they're going to be so split up during that midnight that it's going to be difficult for them. Of course, Rock Monkey has the ultimate at his disposal, you know, trying to cover a little bit if midnight gets popped off anytime soon, but they're just taking kills right now and taking names with no real effort, and they're pushing back the enemy assault. I'm gonna see if Ken is actually able to take that Meve or anything else and try to support a kill that way, but it's gonna be hard for him.
This is what I was worried about. They saved their midnight, they saved their Inflame, and Team Prolific are trying to fight.
And there you go. They got a bunch of kills right now. Oh, they got 4 kills in a row. Sorry. Ready to go and ready to push, and Druxus is going to be the next one if they're going to take him successfully. And there you go. Ashe is just striving to take him out, but it's not going to be successful. And back and forth. They still don't have a definitive team fight to set things straight, but it's going to happen pretty soon enough.
Yeah, watch out for this Assert Dominance. A popular spot is kind of back left into the Team Project base here. Lock off any re-entrance, any retreat from some of these fights. Nice daggers from Penguin, though, is going to give Prolific the early advantage.
And there you go. You can see Strix waiting for the right time to strike, and there you go. He is down. Terminus does not respawn because, of course, you need it for the next round. You need to actually use it for a nice contest. And yeah, it just picked the right time and unlocked completely the situation. And now they're going to fight with plenty of resources, but they're going to be too low.
Yato Acosta has just done wonders, I think, for this Prolific team so far here. Penguin, another strong performance being weaved together. And really top to bottom, I think you can give shout-outs to anyone from Prolific for the first couple of points here. I think everyone has done exactly the job that they need to do. And I do like this. You look at the full-on cauterized pickup outside of Ball and Berry needs a little extra credits into that morale boost. Makes sense. You want Inflame up as often as possible. But just limiting the amount of damage that Corvus is doing to the highest amount. It's only one extra set of cauterized than what Team Project have, but I do think it's a pretty big impact. All of Team Prolific that have it are pretty good spreaders of cauterized for the type of damage that they want to do, single target, multi-target, whatever it may be. I think Team Prolific in a fantastic spot to maybe take another mid-fight.
Let's see what it goes, and let's see how they're going to try to get it, because right now Khan is actually effectively controlling 2 people at once, and on the other side Ancient just went for a full damage build. He's going to try to do as much as possible, and once again, he has an ultimate. So Terminus basically and effectively is a second tank in a row. As soon as he dies, he can just control the point, then die, then control again. He's going to get helped by his team. And right now, Team Project feeling the heat and bringing so much to the table right now, because they're pushing, they're sniping it, and I don't see many contesting against Frog. Yeah, Frog is just able to do whatever he wants. Look at that double kill, uncontested, like he's free as a bird.
My man is having himself a game, at least through this last mid, and now maybe this next push. Getting rid of the Strix, massive for Team Project there on the mid fight. I think everything else is downhill there. It's of course right as I say, Prolific might have a good mid fight here. Is when the Strix ends up dying off, and the rest of the ultimates for Project just too consistent on their connections. Now G Bunny gets a kill, but Penguin trades that one out, so that's going to keep things at bay just for a little bit longer.
Good for Project. They just need to control a bit better that Strix. He's still able to make plays out of nowhere, and this map is super long. You know, you have plenty of space where you can actually throw yourself into, and there's not as many flanks to actually contest him. Like on the other side, yes, you have the Androxus. Yes, you have the Meve, but she's not really going against Strix from time to time. She's more going against Khan, if anything, and that shows because he's basically Strix is just going for full body shots. And of course, Frogs, as you said before, having a game of his life right now, just going and piling up and capitalizing on that DPS from his tanks. Look at him, he's just relentless, chasing down into the enemy base.
I love Androxus on this map here as well. You know, Maeve, Penguin, the ideal target is probably Rock Monkey there in the back line if he's able to find that flank, whittle down the health bar of that Cassie. Obviously easier said than done, and especially now, this is a good look at why defense can be so difficult on Shattered Desert. You're Maeve, you want to be dancing around, moving everywhere effectively. And look at this, Penguin just steps a foot off to the side out of his base and he's got half HP.
Indeed, let's go and let's hear it for Team Project, because right now, very, very close. They just need to find the right play and the right kills. And there you go, double kill for Ratatouille, setting them back for a long, long time. And once again, you do not want to respawn right here. You're just going to take the L and wait, because 70 seconds to spare is not much time if you want to push so hard. But it's okay. I feel it's a very Icy Minds mentality, where you don't want to win unless it's a match point 3-on-3 onto the last middle point, because you have so much utility that you can use with Team Project, with Khan, of course, with Androxus and Corvus and the others, because you have such a big AoE control and damage.
And you know, I think going into this next mid-fight, Merlo, I think Team Project, of course, lost the push there, so Prolific on game point. I think the immediate winners, if Team Project swing all of their ultimates right away, they have a fantastic shot at winning this mid-fight. The Scout is going to largely counter out that Midnight. The Inflame, of course, is always going to be tough to fight into, but big ultimates, big lockdown, big space control ultimates down for Team Prolific between Ratatouille and Jay Genzi. And Team Project, I think, immediately off the bat have a little bit more at their disposal. You might hold on to the Overpower, save it for the Assert Dominance a bit later on here. I want to see Project come out aggressive, though. Find that first pick and maybe win this next mid-fight.
Indeed, let's go in, and the Midnight's getting popped off. Of course, Cassie wants to respond, but Khan is going to be the next one to go during his ultimate, and that's a big waste going on there. That's huge for Team Prolific and Project. Nonetheless, they're taking the point, and Prolific is taking his sweet time to actually counter him and engage against him. Remember, he still has the ultimate from the round before, so he can still jump in, pop his ult, respawn, and be ready for the next fight, and can actually respawn as well. So they got double the bodies and double the fun. Ash is gonna get kicked off from that nice sniper Frog. And yeah, things don't seem too bright from Project though. For Prolific though, even though we have a little bit of control right here, and it's gonna be a 3-2-2. They're ready to push the payload.
And that's what I expected, I think, from Project. You know, the Assert Dominance never ended up hitting the ground, being able to get used there. The Midnight, the Inflame attempted to get used at the same time, but better timed, I think, on the answer were Team Project. So I loved the aggressiveness right out of the gate from Team Project. Rock Monkey on this Cassie, hammering through some shots onto Prolific. I just don't think that they were prepared for there, an 11 streak. So the dive from the Maeve largely seen by the scout sent out by Rock Monkey on the Cassie. Well done there. Ratatouille also didn't find really anything. Now that I'm thinking back with the ROM ultimate, sent it out, didn't find any stuns. And now Team Prolific, they've got a long time to defend for how close this card is.
Indeed,
Prolific,
and
going to use the inflame, that'll help.
They're losing so many people right now. Prolific, they're going strong and they're going at it. Oh, that's the second one from Yato. Hitting those air snipe shot, and they're defending pretty well. But I'm gonna be honest, I'm gonna ask you sincerely, that ultimate with Ash, she didn't hit. Frog picked her out. Isn't that better? That she can now use that, you know, to defend a little bit, instead of dying soon after.
You know, that's a great point. I think there is a world where that's better for Prolific, but now Jay Genzi's just been caught in this weird spot where don't want to use it immediately after the mid fight, but now I've waited too long, so I have to wait until the rest of my team's ultimates are online. Like, I think it was a last-ditch effort there to stay alive, and you're maybe giving up the mid anyway. You're just trying to stay alive to help with the rest of it. So I think there is a world where it's maybe better to let that ultimate come down, but just a bit awkward maybe for Prolific now that Project are getting close.
Yeah, Project are getting super close right now. They did a little bit of a cleaning up crew right there. Khan is trying to find his next target to stun and launch away. Wow. And next to that, they basically won the push by just, you know, enabling him to jump away and throw out the garbage.
I'm going to say almost the exact same thing that I did on the last mid fight, where I think Team Project just come in with better immediate ultimates here, especially with no inflame for Ball and Berry. That one still about 40% to go. Ratatouille pretty far away from his ultimate there as well. Midnight is just gonna get countered out by Scout. I mean, Assert Dominance still available from the previous mid fight, so that's something I think you have to look at here. Project have shown, and now that's my takeaway from this, the second fight that Project have won now, is that they're willing to take that first step as far as being aggressive on these mids. Throw out an Accursed Arm, immediately toss out the Scout. The reanimate's going to be big, and Tropic Breach will slow down a lot of the engagement from Prolific. But then you have to be worried about the second engagement when Prolific do have their ultimates.
Exactly. We'll see right now. Frog is not successful with that ultimate, almost getting killed in the process. It was going to be huge for, of course, Prolific. And right now, yeah, Project having a little bit of a problem because Khan used this ultimate effectively and immediately. They're still contesting. Everything goes up to the handle. Everything else still happen on both sides. And Frog is still risking over and over and over. I think the Strix right now, Yato is like having a very close aim down that Terminus. And he is going down as well. The respawn is set. 45% for Team Project, and right now they need to shift gears and switch a little bit of the attack onto another objective, and of course Frog goes down. He was called it times and times again. Cassin's gonna be the next one, and Yato, my god, he's incredible with those snipes, hitting relentlessly onto the enemy backs. And yeah, they need to push them away, block some, you know, some mounts, some horses, and they're ready to go.
Seems like Inflame is a pretty good ultimate here. Prolific in one fell swoop fight their way back in. Now it's Project sending bodies onto the pile, and they don't have the legs. Prolific tie it up, and we go to game 5.
Indeed, Prolific goes for the kill, and game 5, actually, if I'm gonna be honest, these two teams, they're really playing on another level. They're super well balanced, and they also have the possibility to, you know, draft us out of meta picks, because you don't see Khan that very often. But right here, it works, you know, worked perfectly. And in general, yeah, we saw so many different things. I'm genuinely excited for the next game because it's going to be so different from all the others we had this day.
Yeah, and you know, I think the Khan pick looked decent for G Bunny throughout a lot of this game. Unfortunately, there towards the end, you know, the overpower largely used just to send Jay Genzi out of that Assert Dominance, and ultimately, no offense to Jay Genzi, the Ashe wasn't that primary target that needed to be dealt with, so it's kind of an overpower that might have been better used elsewhere. I think Rock Monkey, a fantastic game, 40,000 damage or 30,000 maybe over Frog, but 40,000 over anyone on Prolific. But Ratatouille, just too healthy. Jay Genzi, too healthy there as well. I mean, 2 and 10, not what you want to see from your front line. But if Jay Genzi's the one absorbing all of that damage, that's going to leave the rest of Prolific, notably Yato Acosta, kind of free and clear to find that damage. And I said it really in picks and bans, and I think I still stand by it. The ultimates, the team fight was just too strong. When you get an Inflame, you get a Midnight, just what was drafted there from Prolific, I think team fight wise was just too good.
It was not, how can I say, it was not map oriented. In a way, it always is, in Paladins, but the composition as a 5-man team was incredible. Like they had each and every single time the possibility to fight as a group. And yeah, they took each and every possible advantage that they created and every single space that they created with those kills to just push till the end. But it was still very, very close, almost too close, to be honest,
It was.
for from Team Project this time. So yeah, we need to see something a little bit different, and it's gonna be different, all right, because the next map is gonna be Ice Mines, and yeah, we're jumping back into the pigs and bands, and so. As I said before, for Desert, it's basically the same idea. We're gonna go for the final match point.
Let's look. We can kick up the feet. We're going 7 points on this map anyway. I mean, we're crack the knuckles, right? I mean, look, I like Ice Mines. We've seen shorter Ice Mines. We've seen longer Ice Mines. We've seen middle of the road Ice Mines. We've about seen it all. Is really what I'm trying to get at here for this map. We've the variety of picks and bans, I think, is where I kind of sway on whether or not we got a quick one in store or one that's maybe going to take a little bit longer here. I like Project, I think, switching things up here on this map, Prolific, like the kind of full-out aggression style of play I think that we saw on Shadow Desert there, and Ice Mines, I think, to your point, can cater to some of that on the mid-fight, but the defense is advantageous enough to the defensive squad that you can keep yourself in it sort of regardless of what it is that the attacking team has drafted. So I think definitely a strong pick here for Team Project, and I like the Strix ban. Take that one away. We've seen Yato Acosta just too good, I think, on the Strix so far this set to tango with it once more. Victor, though, left up. So is the Genos. So is the Corvus.
So is the Rom.
So is the Rom. There's a lot here for power.
And yeah, this is going to be interesting because then again, Grover got banned by Prolific themselves and Rom just getting picked up by Project. But this time you have a Genos, Shaolin, for example, still available if you want to do with a cripple blow, etc. But so many good picks you can actually take into account. As you said before, Victor just getting picked right now, but Bomb King is still available. And Bomb King really controls the flow of the game right here because you have so many buildings and angles where you can basically just spam bombs and do AoE damage regardless. Inara is going to get picked. That's pretty good. And these two are going to be super extra tanky. I wonder which healer they're going to choose.
Yeah, you need somebody who can splash out some big-time healing to both Rom and Inara. Grover would have been a fantastic pick. Tiberius has been an Ice Mines favorite as far as the ability to not only 1v1, but also kind of dislodge some of the pressure up on the high ground to use the heavy blade, the double tap, the send and receive, I suppose, from Tiberius is definitely something to take into account. You're picking it blindly into whatever the second damage dealer is going to be and their healer for Project. Khan, I think, good on the mid fight. If that overpower's ready, you grab yourself a free kill right off the side they go. So I like that pick here. Shaolin. So that's really where Tiberius and Victor are going to be doing a lot of their dueling. Tiberius maybe more flank-minded if Sin is going to be going toe-to-toe with him. I like what Prolific have drafted so far in the sense that I think Victor, Genos, Tiberius are just going to be doing overwhelming amounts of damage. But now that there's a Ying with Illusory Rift, I'm nervous at the sheer amount of health and healing that a Ramanara with the Illusory Rift is going to be to deal with. So I think Prolific have the potential to do it, but I just love Project's frontline.
Yeah, and Ying basically it's a heal bot. Like she does so much healing. if she really connects. And like basically you can just move around. And you said before, somebody who can split between Rom and Inara. There you
Right.
go. Ying, she's perfect right now. She can hold point and follow Rom. And Fernando, on the other hand, Khan, it's going to be interesting to witness. But I think we're going to jump right back into the game
Let's do
and
it.
see what they're going to pick and what are those cards. So Aegis going up for Fernando, so it's going to be a full tank, with a very low cooldown. And what do you think about the others?
Yeah, you asked about the others, but I'm just going to confirm that Aegis is the big pick here for Fernando as of late. It's been the obvious pick here, and I noticed Sandtrap being locked in as far as Rock Monkey, his talent there on the Shaolin. I like it. It's going to be poking a little bit of extra damage around corners, locking down the Victor, even if you don't have a straight up line of sight on him. So I do think that buys a small advantage for Rock Monkey in these high ground engagements, whereas Victor with a Luminary boost, you get one burst mode to the face and suddenly the Shaolin can't participate anymore. So I think smart pickup there for Rock Monkey. It's going to be a fun battle to watch.
Indeed, and now let's jump back into the fight itself. We're gonna see if Inara is able to bring the heat and take that damage. I mean, she can definitely take some punishment, don't get me wrong, but yeah, we're just gonna see if Khan is gonna be effective against her, because then again, as you said before, that's a free kill. It just has, the possibility of using the ultimate and launching her into space. But he needs to farm the ult first. So right now, first kills on coming in. Zin was the first one to go down, and Inara behind her wall. Yeah, she's just got picked from the others. Ratatouille trying to bring the heat once again and bring a little bit of damage onto this high ground. Can definitely do it. They're pushing them back, and they're pushing them hard. Rom onto the other side, ready to sprint in case. Damage is there, 90%. Oh, and he gets blocked before he could jump onto the point. And that's an easy first point for Prolific.
Love the Void Grip there from Prolific to lock down the ROM. That was going to be the overtime touch. Victor not feeling all that uncomfortable on the first mid-fight. The collapse from Team Prolific just too strong. Project kind of collapsed in on themselves. And the healing from this Ying not enough. And look what Penguin's able to do here. I love this from the Tiberius. He ended up going down. But it's that 1v1 potential is definitely one of the strong suits of this Tiberius, and it's going to keep the cart moving.
The trade is essential, and right here, of course, defensive options are super strong. Like, it's a long stretch of road, and you can always like kill the enemy and jump right back onto them and block those mounts. But right now, as you said before, that 1v1 is super effective, super useful, and right now we see a little bit of a cheese pick from Khan. Useful, essential, because right now they're able to push once again. They got 3 kills in a row. They even have the ultimate from Victor if they wish to use it. They got so many options, and they're going down one after the other.
Fortunately, Yato Acosta turns around the final bit of damage there onto Rock Monkey. This is tough from Project. They're going to have to send some ultimates out to try to keep this cart at bay. It is Ancient now back respawning, making his way back to the cart to keep it where it's at.
Ooh, Ancient, of course, with Rom. They're taking control once again. 58 seconds, that's a lot of time for Prolific to actually, to bring up the heat and do a little bit of a, team fight, or maybe if they want to focus one specific pick, open up the space and then go in, they can also do that. They have the high ground, they have control, they have space, they have everything. They just need to be patient and look out for the kill or for the low HP target.
Oh, he nearly double tapped the Zin perfectly there. Yato Acosta in range to capitalize, but Frog throws out the spite, grabs the early kill on a Jay Genzi. A big win for Team Project on defense.
Indeed, Prolific having a little bit of a trouble right now. We still have plenty of ultimates, but you want to use them to actually get the point and not onto this particular push, even though it's going so great and so well. Right now, 9 seconds left. I don't think they're gonna go hard as they used to, because they just want to preserve, don't give any credits, and just spitball it, just free roam, inside this map, and maybe take a couple of kills, but nothing too hard on them. As you see, they don't chase for like super kills. Right now, Tiberius just went for it. I think it unlocked the entire team fight. Like they're going hard right now. They said, okay, he got a kill. He used the ultimate. Let's go. And they need to shut this Sha lane down. It's gonna be super hard to push.
Yeah, this is showing the strength of Shaolin as Rock Monkey here. The ability to dip in and out of stealth is just so strong on the defense. No tanks in range. So Team Project able to hang on. Love what I saw from Rock Monkey there towards the end. Big damage numbers from him. But the worrying trend has to be that Yato Acosta is 6-1 and has 40,000 more damage a couple minutes into a game than anyone on Team Project. It's not a sustainable pace, I think, to claw your way back in on these defenses. A lot of it, of course, Yato Acosta just kind of free-firing up from that high ground. But this mid-fight as well, that's kind of where things went wrong the first time around, is Team Project. Frog got locked down early in that fight, so the counter flank, kind of the Xin, didn't make Yato Acosta uncomfortable at all. Triple cauterize for Victor. It's got to be where the target is for Project.
But Team Project doesn't have any way to actually control this Victor, am I right? They don't have like a super strong flank that just can, you know, get into the backline and in on his face, you know? They have a Shaolin, he's trading blows back and forth, but it's not super strong, to be honest.
Right, maybe it's really Frog. Frog is going to have to try, but this is what he's getting met with. He walks out, sees 3 of Prolific, has to back himself away. So really, I mean, I don't think you're too far off there. I think it's not surprising. Penguin as well pours in damage to the high ground from range, the same range. Oh, double swipe from Fallen Berry. That's going to give Prolific big advantage. I think that just
very spicy. Yeah, that was pretty good and basically gave an automatic win for this point. And as we said before, the problem also for Xin itself, of course, is a flank pick that is, you know, super able to, you know, create great plays, do amazing kills, and also you have so many safe options to get out scot-free of fights. But right now, as soon as you get into the high ground, there's Tiberius that just shoots without a, you know, without a care, and he just gets killed by bouncing back and forth, back and forth. So that's a big of a problem, a little bit of a problem, because of course high ground is out of the question, but where you go from there then? How can you actually get this Vector?
Right, you know, and at some point, and it's kind of counterintuitive, but you're wondering if maybe at some point Project shift their focus elsewhere and try to win the fight and then deal with the Victor last. If they can pour their damage into one target, maybe if a spike connects, maybe if the health is whittled down elsewhere enough, then you can just walk at a Victor when there's not all these off tanks kind of standing in front of them. But it's a worrying trend for sure, Merlo, and I'm not sure Team Project have a consistent enough answer on the mid fights.
We are seeing that from Prolific right now, and it's going to be difficult. Shaolin always in a tough spot, and right now Rock Monkey just took a kill. That's pretty good, but yeah, it's a worrying trend, and they're already on to their basically target at 1 minute and 10, and that's too fast even for Ice Mines. That's like really too fast for them. They're pushing hard, they're pushing consistently, they're pushing super deep with this Tiberius, and it's working.
It is, and Penguin is finding some momentum now on the Tiberius. If it's not Victor, it's Tiberius, it seems, right now for Team Prolific. Down goes Frog as well. 45 seconds left. Project, they're going to have to send some ultimates out to keep this one at bay.
They need at least the can to grab onto someone, and they need to focus him hard. Inara just did a little trick with that wall. That was pretty good by her, to be honest. She just took Fernando down. But yeah, that's a minor setback.
It's definitely a minor setback, and I'll stand corrected that the moment the tank goes down, Team Prolific, they immediately back themselves off. I think that's the smart choice, because now, at least with 10 seconds left, you've given yourself a chance.
Fernando's back, though.
One more push. Fernando has rejoined the fight. Here goes Team Prolific.
And there you go. You still have Fernando's ultimate if you really want to use it. And we go with Tiberius, expendable as ever. And he's going deep and slashing back and forth. No kills to be found, though. On the other side, we see Victor is trying to get this Xin. And Xin is actually onto the backline. Takes the first kill onto Victor. That was a great move from him. And as you can see, the safe option to just counter and go back and go in and go out, and Fernando is going to be the last one to stand onto this PL. It's going to be super hard for him to continue to fight, because onto the other side, Ying is just healing over and over and over. It's an incredible fight. Of course, Khan is the next one to go, and Rom bringing down the pain onto the high ground. It's going to be 2-2. And I mean, I was believing into this Tiberius, but he's not killing with that ultimate. Like, he does not find the necessary space to make a play.
Yeah, he did some alright damage, but the killing blows definitely were not there from Penguin, at least in that fight. I mean, Ice Mines is all this is Ice Mines, right? I mean, it's always, especially when there's an Inara, going to be difficult to fight through. Ancient can just throw up that wall, and nobody has an angle to out contest the Inara, at least for a few seconds there, and it's just sort of what you expect, I think, from this point on. There were openings for Prolific. I mean, if you can find a clean opening pick, especially onto G-Bunny, especially onto Frog, that's definitely where you want that to be. Good highlight there by Kresnik. Looked like Desert Silence is the pivot from Rock Monkey on the talent instead of that Sand Trap. So some of the cooldowns won't be as consistent there, but maybe mitigates his boxing.
I would hate to be on Team Project side, going to the last round and just getting thrown off by an ultimate of Khan. Oh, nice snipe from Genos. That was incredible. Nice Yato going in and going hard, taking that triple kill into the back. And there you go. He's ready to strike. He's ready to pop some wheels onto those horses. I don't know if that's possible, but he's going to do that.
I hope it's not possible. I don't know if I want to see that. He does have the Mirage, though, so he's going to take the wheels off the horses, maybe. Just now eclipsing Project, are Prolific on the point. So fantastic chance at a converted point for Prolific, but Team Project close enough to contest.
Indeed. Ready to strike again. 87%. Inara is just jumping onto the point. Oh, I don't know if she gets blocked off. Yeah, right now they're contesting on hard with Fernando and Victor onto the other side. There you go. Khan uses his ultimate, and that's a free kill for him. 1-for-1. Inara is the last one to stand, but she's done. And Charlene tries to do a little bit of a sniper right here. Tries to go in and out. A little bit of a trickster, I might say, but it's not enough, because Team Prolific, they just took the kill, and now the only thing they need to do is to recharge Khan's ultimate, and they're golden. They're good to go for the next round.
This is fantastic for Prolific. Massive fight there in the mid from the Victor up on the high ground. So Prolific definitely happy with the way things have gone here. Team Project, it's gotten close on defense, but just too much health again. So I think if you look at what maybe Project need to change to get this one converted through, I hesitate to say slow play it, but you're kind of filtering yourself into an area where Team Project are able to lock you down one by one. G-Bunny finds big value with the ROM as he rumbles on through. So Team Prolific, you almost need to win these sorts of fights, and then one kind of half in, half out of the Team Project base, and then assault when you're at a numbers advantage. Otherwise, I don't know if Project's composition is squishy enough for Team Prolific to work through, especially right back in Project's respawn.
Let's go for this push. Another snipe coming through from Prolific. Yep. But I mean, they got plenty of time. They're just recharging. They're going through, they're pushing, they're getting credits. I think that's the main goal right now. They didn't push and they didn't close, before. But even though, Yato takes a triple kill, there's still a long way to go for the car to actually hit the spot.
Yeah, it's got a good bit left to go here, and not as much time as Prolific have had at similar spots, in previous rounds. So Project not out of it. Things do get awkward now. Prolific, I think, fine to wait and see what Project spend ultimate-wise, because they win the game. Project are only going to force us to another mid.
Indeed. Let's go for Yato. Let's give it up for Yato, and another kill coming up from him. He's like doing the best work inside his team fights. He's amazing right now. Rock Monkey also tries to contest as much as possible. Frog is gonna go down. Genos keeping everybody alive. And Shaolin, as you can see, is trying to snipe as much as he can, but it's not gonna be enough. That's the problem with him in such long maps. There's a lot of distance, and he's not able to snipe and get kills with it. So it's gonna be a little bit interesting to see if Victor is gonna get picked off because Zin before did the thing. Like he jumped over the fence, he went into the window and actually took the kill. Right now it's just ulting Tiberius, but he doesn't have it for the next round. But he needs to use it because otherwise it's over.
Oh, well timed there by Frog to finally get the kill onto Penguin. And with overtime on, Merlot, it seems like we're destined for a 0.7 all, but Ancient falls. Push it in.
And right now, Victor needs to use his ultimate. It's time to contest. It's time to capitalize on those kills. He's ready to basically blast off the entirety of the enemy team, man. But they're not doing that. They're just waiting so much. I don't understand that. I mean, I get it, but still.
That side box kind of area is just so good on the defense, and it's one small interaction, but it's more than enough here to buy project time to get Ancient back and respawn. This map is so long that Prolific, once you lose anybody, no real chance that they're going to be back in the fight. As if he needs any more highlighting, 21, 3, and 9 for Yato Acosta. He's done now 70,000 more damage than anyone else in the game. He, with about 9,000 more on this final mid-fight, will crest over the 200,000 damage mark. So definitely something to look at there. Ball and Barry has only died a couple of times this game. Fantastic performance on the Genos. Ice Mine's in 0.7, Merlot. They go hand in hand.
There you
This
go.
is a big one for Project to try to get themselves a win here in Phase 2.
You know, we stretched. We were relaxed. We knew that it was coming. But the problem is, yeah, of course. And as I said before, I don't want to be in Team Project's team right now because that's exactly my point. You have Khan, that's a free kill, that's a free contest, that's a free point right there. Right. I don't want to be there when the last round comes because Khan is just gonna destroy everybody and get a free control. And this is going to be the same reaction as before because there you go, Luminary from Genos. That's another kill onto their healer. It's the same game as before, over and over and over. And right now, I think Brajan doesn't have a counterplay.
I'll speak for Team Project here and calling Ball and Barry super annoying on this Genos. I don't think there's a range for Team Project to get back in. There is overtime though, so maybe a small chance.
A small chance, but a very, very limited one because Rom just went in. He has the ultimate. He goes for the stun. That's a little bit of space, but he's going to get shut down easily. Man. And Team Prolific wins.
Man, Ball and Barry, dude. Like, he's not the one who did near 2,000 damage, whatever it was, but my guy, I think, missed one snipe that entire game. Double kill, bunch of pickouts there. Getting Cuss Cutie with that through time and space. There was a moment where it looked like Prolific might have overextended on their ultimate usage and Immortal used while Project were already disengaging and Project only lost one member, so they could fight back in. That one was effectively sealed when Ball and Barry sniped Cuss Cutie out. You have no healing from the Ying. 203,000 healing, by the way, is what Cuss Cutie was able to do. But 201,000 damage from Yato Acosta. So one member effectively eliminated all of the healing that Cuss Cutie did. You can't say the same for anyone on Team Project. And the mid-fight team fight is really where Prolific shined here. A bunch of great defenses from Project. The overpowers were so strong. Penguin did some good damage. Great duels there. But
Look at that!
22 and 3, man. That's it. You look at that, and that tells you all you need to know, I think.
That's the definition of solo queue carry. Like, that's right there. You pick Victor, you try to snap as much as possible. But I want to give it to, of course, Genos as well, because we saw 3 different matches, and 3 different times when he was onto the high ground, he was just sniping with through times and space. So he was ready to go each and every time and support his team. And on the other side, Ratatouille also did an amazing job. Maybe Nando a little bit of to the slapping side, like he was taking so much damage, was not super effective, but still great team effort right there.
Yeah, I think so. I think Jay Genzi had a tough set today in that he was drawing a lot of the pressure from Team Project. I think that Fernando was able to hold his own though on Ice Mines, and that gave Team Prolific a great chance at winning.
And let's go to standings and let's see what happened after, this week 7. Pickle Pepper right there onto the first place, 17 points. They're still going strong as ever.
God, it is every week I say this because every week it's still so wild to me that this is how the standings are breaking out. I would have expected Flashpoint and Project to be the top 2 teams in the region far and away. I know Pickled Pepper are good. I'd had them somewhere at third. Sanguine are also very good. I mean, it really shows how competitive this North American region is, where the top team up against even one of the lower teams didn't quite see it in our previous NA set here today. But I take Project against anyone, not necessarily to win, but to push these games longer. I think North America is a fantastic. It's a fun region to watch. I think Pickled Pepper
Indeed.
obviously controlling it, but it's a lot of fun to watch. Some of the new age guys rising up, grinding their way towards the top of this region, and some of the old pros still putting in serious work and pushing every team to their absolute limit.
Well, yeah, but where's the Pickle logo though? This and many other questions will be answered tomorrow, because remember, we're still on. We're still going to cast Italian Merlo. We'll be with you. I don't know if that's a problem, but I'm still going to be
Sure
here,
isn't.
hopefully. Remember,
Be,
3 p.m. EST.
tomorrow. 3 p.m. he says.
Yeah, 3 p.m. EST. We'll be here right on Paladins game for another community broadcast for the PPC. Dolson, you were amazing. Like, I cannot see any other games without you. Like, I have so much love from Kresnik, but like, of course, Kresnik does not make Ice Mines fun.
That's right. Oh,
You
man. That's gross. Oh,
and he can hear me. He knows that.
No, he hears it. Hey, man, I appreciate casting with you. It's a lot of fun. Can't wait to work some more Ice Mines in coming weeks for sure.
So remember, 3 p.m. EST tomorrow, and we'll see you there. Bye-bye.